Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. In this video, we're going to go through the Forex market outlook. We're going to highlight a few pairs of interest going into this week. So, as always, just want to start off with the strength and weakness analysis and just kind of point out a couple of things that I noticed on the strength and weakness going into this week. Now, obviously, pound super strong. We can see that continuation with price heading towards the plus sixes, which is sort of the top end of the scale. And with that recent breakout, looks like we could see some even further upside to the pound. But we'll go take a little look at the pound US dollar price in a second. Aussies also gained, which is interesting to see. Recently, we've seen a little bit of Australian dollar strength, and again, when price approached that high, we said, there could be a potential pullback. However, the risk is to the upside, and we've started to see that breakout. And I'll talk a little bit more about these currencies in a moment. The biggest loser of the week was the Swiss franc. It lost -3. It's actually fallen into the one of the weakest currencies at the moment, and dollar Swiss looks like a potential opportunity if that's going to continue going into this week. So let's dive into the charts. Let's just have a little look at them from a technical point of view. And we can see here already that when we spoke about Euro US dollar last week, we said there's a risk here that price could be forming an inverse head and shoulders pattern, and that seems to be playing out here at the moment. And if I'm honest, I'd probably keep these key levels in that we've already been watching for a while. I think the 121.65 zone and the 1.2060 zone could be the ones to keep our eye on and determine sort of which way we're going to be looking to trade the Euro US dollar market, because the dollar's still on a balance of strength and weakness for me. It's kind of showing us that there's a bit of strength there, but still remaining in an overall downtrend. So the market is still looking for or still has that weakness there. So we started to see a little bit of that coming in last week. We had a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest, with the market. Finding dollar strength, then pulling back on that dollar strength. So we need to see some decision being made whether that is going to follow through or not. So if price can break above 121.65, we know that the dollar selling's probably going to continue, and we'll be looking for these highs up here. If price reverses, breaks 1.2060, then we know we're going to be looking for the downside targets of around about 18.40. Okay, so keep your eye on euro. You may not want to trade the congestion in here. You may just want to wait for that breakout for a decision there on euro US dollar. Going into pound US dollar, so we were targeting 139.80. Price is currently resting at 1.4, which is a key level on pound as well. So despite the pound strength, this is where we could expect to see a little bit of sellers re-entering the market, just because it's such a key swing level, and we may just see some take profits coming in from this rally that we've seen at the moment. And I mean, it's not the most aggressive of rallies. We have just seen sort of the market stumble its way up, and the reason being largely for that is that a lot of the retail market is short at the moment. So I think one of the highest shorted pairs by retail traders at the moment is the pound against the US dollar. And we know that, looking at those retail sentiments, retail traders aren't typically correct. So we need to be following what the institutions are doing. And if the retail traders are short in the market, then, you've got to think of what the institutions are probably doing. They're probably doing the complete opposite. And that's why we're seeing the trend continue here on the pound. So sentiment indicators still suggest that retail is heavily short. So I wouldn't be surprised if price did make another move to the upside, but at the moment we're at resistance. We need to either wait for 1.3856 to be hit for some further longs, or price to break out, retest 1.4 area, and continue to the upside. Similarly with Aussie US dollar, retail very heavily short here at the moment. We can see that from the sort of trend in here that the market is still very much trending to the upside. We had a really nice pullback into this 7620. The market's rallied up. We retested the structure highs through here. And this is where we said we're either going to get a pullback down or price is going to break out to the upside. And we had that really nice breakout through here. And again, sentiment indicators were suggesting that price was going to rally due to the fact that retail traders are heavily short in and around this level here. Going to the weekly, it's just an uptrend on the weekly time frame. Where could that go to? Well, the previous highs are now resting around about 0.860. So I would be looking for price to continue to head towards this level. The way we can watch that is on our daily or on our 4-hour time frame. If price comes back into this 780 level on the 4-hour, changes trend here, then look for further upside to this market. Dollar Swiss was another one that we suggested taking a quick look at, just because we've come back into that inverse head and shoulders neckline. Price has rallied to the upside. If the Swiss franc is going to continue to weaken, where would it have likely weakened from? Previous structure highs. We can see this in a little bit more detail. If we go down into the 4-hour time frame, you can see the market came back, retested this previous structure, and is starting to make its way back up again. Now, at the moment, just because it's such a deep retracement, we're kind of seeing a lower low being formed there. So what I'd like to see is sort of a double bottom pattern or some kind of, again, change in trend, suggest that it's going to start moving back to the upside and look to buy this back towards the 9040 area. That's more off the back of the Swiss franc weakness than dollar strength. So if you did want to ignore this chart, look for Swiss franc weakness against the stronger currencies, potentially Aussie Swiss, Pound Swiss, things like that. Finally, I just wanted to finish on gold. So we talked about gold last week. I like the idea of price coming down a little bit further, potentially into sort of these sorts of areas around about the $1,700 area. I think that's where gold is going to be heading towards. Again, retail very heavily short long gold at the moment, which suggests that we could see some further declines. The only thing that we need to wait for here is the fact that price is currently at the swing lows. So, you know, these areas can act as support and resistance. So I'm going to wait to see if price can rally back up. If it comes back up anywhere near here, then we may see the market change cycle from this point. But in other sort of situations, I think price may be going to break to the downside, and we're going to see prices move towards 1700 this week. So I'm favouring more downside on gold rather than the upside, but this is the upside risk if price does break and change trend on that daily time frame. So keep your eye on gold. Could see some further downside there. I hope you enjoyed this Forex market outlook update. If you have any comments or want to see me talk about any specific charts this week, drop a comment down below and I'll speak to you very soon.